Welcome race fans to another exciting edition of ADRP TV. It's Melbourne Cup Day here in Melbourne and we've been fortunate enough to be invited to the garage of Mag's Family Racing. Welcome Jason, welcome Robert.
Thank you. Morning.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. We're here obviously to talk about this wonderful Speedflow Racer Pro 60-foot clothing dragster behind us. You gentlemen are well known in the sport, changed from your Corvette though in Group 2 now to stepping up into top alcohol Group 1. Whoever wants to field the question, do you want to give us a little insight as to what's driven the change?
I think simply due to the rules of Group 2, Jason and I both got tired of shutting the Corvette off at half track to protect the record and the index, and we'd like to go out and race for pure enjoyment now and explore what we're able to do with a little small block engine. A starter motor by comparison with all the KB cars out there, but hopefully we'll be able to get amongst them.
And when you say starter motor, obviously it's the Mighty Mouse. How many cubic inches, or is that top secret?
No, goodness no. 342 cubic inches. It's only 24% over on the blower at present. It's double BAP legal still because we're about to learn a new car. I didn't want to have to learn a new engine setup as well. So we kept something common, so we had a baseline to work from.
So the engines are very similar, if not identical, set up to what you were running in your Corvette?
Pretty much identical, only the ignition has changed.
Okay, so you've stepped that up to alcohol standards?
Well, yeah, gone to a 44 amp Pro Mag now, a bit more spark, and the engine seems to like it from what we've seen so far.
Awesome. Well, that's a great segue, Jason. You had your first hit out at Calder the other night. Can you tell us a little bit about how that went and then explore the differences of a Dord car to what you're currently sitting in?
Yeah, look, it was fantastic. It went really, really well. We set out to do basically the minimum of what we needed to do to get the licence, the Group 1 licence for the East Coast Nationals. And yeah, did that quite well. We were very surprised how well the car reacted to everything we threw at it. So the car itself is obviously very, very different. Exceedingly different to drive from a guy who's always driven door slammers with plenty of gears down to an open car with only three. It was quite different in regards to it didn't move around, it went straight, which is something I'm not quite used to. You know, short wheelbase cars tend to want to turn around on a dime, so and just the pull this thing had through the mid-track section was quite substantial by comparison to the Corvette. So, and getting here in the breeze was interesting as well. So no, it was quite good.
Yeah, well, when I rang you to set up this interview, you gave me a little bit of insight. You were talking about the sounds and the feel.
Yeah, it was phenomenal how different the car sounded. In the Corvette, you're sitting in between doors with, well, our car had 5-inch collectors either side. It was quite a muffled exhaust note from what you could hear inside, whereas this thing here, basically all you can hear is the supercharger whine and also valve train noise, which is something I'd never heard before. So it was quite a different sound with like I say, the real whine and then a clacky sound behind it. So, and it was surprisingly louder, which caught me by surprise. I thought it'd be quieter, but and then there was the car just made different sounds. You know, like it sounded like a thunder was going through the car down the braking area. It ended up being just the body sort of rattling around because these things are only attached by 4 points. So yeah, it was a little bit to get used to, but we got there in the end.
And back to your junior drags, today's a little bit with your bum only 4 inches off the ground, and this one being a bit longer, you would have got the flex in the burnout like we've seen.
Yep, they bounce around a fair bit. You become a human pendulum basically. You know, so once a burnout's complete, you're just sitting there bouncing around, and that was interesting in itself. But yeah, it was surprisingly similar, obviously a lot faster, but very similar to drive and to steer as the new junior dragster was. You know, you're sitting basically in the same relative position to all 4 tyres. Yeah, it steered very much the same. It just simply drove like it.
Just with an extra 2,500 horsepower behind you.
Basically, yeah. 2,495 horsepower ahead of it. So yeah, it was quite good.
Now, speaking about the horsepower, we'll switch back to your dad. Rob, you're the brains behind this wonderful small block behind us. We know Jason's just the hired shoe. Drivers, we're just the dummy who points it at the finish line.
Flying ballast.
Exactly. All the work's done in the shed. So can you, without, again, giving us too many secrets, can you talk us through the small block a little bit?
Sure. As we said before, 342 cubic inches, based on small block Chevy engine, has a forged crossbolt CM block, Crower steel crank. Currently GRP rods, diamond pistons, which will soon change. We run a Racer Pro cylinder head, which we massage rather extensively, and Paul at Racer Pro helps us out a great deal, which we're very, very grateful for. Custom built manifold, sitting on top of that a PSID blower, a fuel injection system that was designed, I guess, primarily by myself in conjunction with Ken Crawford Fuel Systems in the state, who's a wonderfully knowledgeable fellow that helps prevent me from making stupid mistakes. Because the thing with it is, I'm a builder, not an engine guy. Jason and I do all of this together. We discuss it endlessly at work, trying to figure out new and better ways to try and get the thing quicker and faster. The engine, I guess, has a small amount of sort of pro-stock approach technology to it, because when we had the engine in the Corvette, we ran a 5-speed, which is a little unheard of with a blown engine. It seemed to work fairly efficiently. We were head of the pack for double BAP, which most times I think we take a slightly different approach, because we're not locked into any particular line of thinking. We explore what we feel is logical and workable, and so far it's appeared to work out reasonably well. We're enormously looking forward to the challenge of top alcohol. We know we're up against it. Those guys out there, they're good. You know, the Gary Phillips, the Canoolis, the Steve Hams, they have their act together. I don't think we're ever going to threaten them, but I think this setup for us is primarily for Jason and I to go out and enjoy ourselves and find out what actually can be done with a small block. And I'd just like to explain one thing, why the engine's called Mighty Mouse. A lot of people miss it. Back in the old days, the big block Chevy engines were rat motors, small blocks were mouse motors. This makes a reasonable amount of power, therefore we christened it Mighty Mouse, and hopefully it'll live up to its name.
Yes, well, the three gentlemen you mentioned all run the traditional road well-worn KB based. You guys are taking the odd approach. I think Frank Latini and maybe one or two other people have run a hard-running small block, but this will be the most newest, if that's the right word, or current version, and we wish you the very best of luck in Sydney. Now, what is the plan for Sydney, Jason?
Have fun. That's basically the entire plan. We want to go out, obviously anger it all up a fair bit. As I said before, it was very, very soft out of quarter, simply to get our licence, and just anger it up and see what it will take. Would like to obviously break into the 5 second range. We've got a target in mind that we'd like to hit. If we do, fantastic. If we don't, so be it. We'll come back, work on it and figure it out. So yeah, if we can qualify and maybe win a round, I'll be pretty well stoked with that. So
I was going to say, without being too specific, with 12 cars entered for an 8-car field, qualify would have to be pretty high on your target list.
Yeah, we looked at the entry list, and there's a fair few hitters in there. So yeah, go out and give it a shot. So.
Well, we'd like to thank you both for your time. ADRP wishes you the best of luck at the 400 Thunder East Coast Nationals next weekend, and we look forward to catching up with you in the pits and getting an update.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.